that's why I'm saying, if you haven't already, you probably don't like this answer because it's not, giving you enough time. But you should just go watch a couple of my videos. All right? If you're new, go watch a couple of my videos. All right? I promise you'll learn something. All right. Maybe I should have given a better answer than that. But, like I said, I feel like... Let me tell you this. I have always felt that I need to prove that I'm serious about learning when I learn. Right? Many of my friends are very smart people. Many of my friends are very well-educated people. And when you're surrounded by people like that, you feel like you need to prove yourself that you're serious about learning or about your questions. And there are some questions that make it sound like you're not serious. They make it sound like you're not doing your part, that you're not doing your effort, right? So the questions you ask sometimes are very telling, right? They tell me what you're doing and what your mindset is. And if you don't have the right mindset, then you won't be successful. Okay, Smitha, I hope you're still here. Hello, Mona. Hello, Adam. Thank you. Can you get on the stage? Sure, raise your hand. All right, let's talk to Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Mark teacher.
How are you?
I'm good.
So,
I'm so proud.
In English, we say teacher Mark instead of Mark teacher. You say it Mark teacher because that's what you say in 马克老师, right? In Chinese, that's what you would say, right? But in English, we switch it the other way. We say teacher Mark. Yeah.
Teacher Mark. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
So it's a common that we say teacher Mark. Right?
No, it's not that common, actually. It's kind of funny. In the United States, usually when you go to school, if you talk to a teacher here, we usually say Mr. or Mrs. or maybe Miss if you're not married, right? If you're a woman who's not married, we say Miss. If you're a woman who's married, we say Mrs. And if you're a man, it's weird, because if you're a man, if you're married or not, we just say Mr. So it will be Mr. Smith, Mr. Burns, Miss Abrams, Mrs. Jones, right? Those are the names of our teachers in America, usually. But I taught English in Taiwan and in Asia and around the world. ESL teachers, sometimes they call ESL teachers teacher something, right? And often it's because I'm teaching children, like little children, right? And so when you're teaching little children, you need a simple name that they can understand and a simple concept they can understand. And when you say, they know how to say it in Chinese, right? They know "马克老师." So when you just teach them, oh, okay, well, we just say teacher Mark. Now they go, okay, that makes sense, right? So, so that's kind of the reason why I chose to. I just kept my name that I used as an English teacher in Asia, but I think it's good. I personally think that it's good. I like to be called Teacher Mark, and there is one more reason why it's good, because it does make sense. Because if you're a professor, then we call you Professor something, right? So if you're a professor in college, then we'll say Professor Smith, Professor Jones, right? So if we call a professor that, then why not use it for teacher? It makes sense, so why not?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So
And,
where do you live
doctor,
in China,
it's the same.
Adam?
I'm in Beijing,
In
China.
Beijing. Okay, cool. All right. And I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last thing you said. What did you say?
I just want to make addition like doctor. Dr.
Exactly.
Smith, doctor. Yeah.
And actually, it's funny because the word doctor, the first way we used doctor was not about medicine. No, the first way that they used doctor was about learning. So just like when you get your master's degree or your PhD, we call you doctor, right? Right? Well, guess what? That's the first way doctor was used. Doctor was a word that was used to talk about somebody who's smart and who learned a lot, right? So then later, it became used for somebody who learned a lot about medicine. But yeah, you're right. The term doctor is actually more like professor. It really was originally a word we used to talk about somebody who learned a lot, not somebody who knew about medicine. Yeah.
Okay. So it means a degree, right? Like a
doctorate.
Doctor, master.
That's
doctor.
right. Yeah, we call it a doctorate degree. Doctorate degree. Yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, so teacher Mark, I have a question for you about how to improve my English skill.
Okay.
For most Chinese students, for most Chinese people, we have learned for a long time from junior school, high school, college. So, but in the real life, after especially when we have a conversation, I feel like we are not good at English. We are just good at English exam.
Yeah. That's most of my students are like that. They're Chinese students who they've studied English for many, many years, and they passed the test, and maybe they even got a good score on the test, but they don't feel comfortable or confident about speaking English. Yeah, that's very common. Very, very, very common. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
How are you studying English now?
Just use this app, HelloTalk.
Okay. All right. So have you watched me before?
You mean I followed you?
Yeah.
before?
I mean, have you seen my streams before? Have you listened to my advice before?
Actually, I followed you recently.
Okay.
And I followed you. I know you didn't feel good a few days before.
Yeah, that's right.
Just recently, I studied to follow you.
All right.
Yeah.
So I give lots of advice about many, many things here, but the most important advice that I give about language is that the reason why Chinese students are never comfortable speaking is because they're not comfortable thinking in English. They spend all their time thinking in Chinese.
just translate in my brain.
That's exactly right. So you're translating everything. And guess what, guys? If you're trying to learn a language, somebody needs to tell you that if the language doesn't live up here, then you're not really speaking it. You're translating. That's not the same thing, right? So when you speak Chinese, you think in Chinese. That's speaking. That's using the language, right? The language has to match your mind. Okay? If your mind and your mouth don't match, then you're not really speaking the language. So that's the problem, is that they don't know how to think in English. And they never practice thinking in English. And so, can you ride a bicycle? Do you know how to ride a bicycle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
So when we ride a bicycle, in the beginning, everybody's uncomfortable, right? How do you become comfortable? You do it more, right? Can you swim? Just like swimming.
Yes,
I
so like swimming.
In the beginning, everybody's uncomfortable when they start swimming, but then you do it more and you become comfortable. The same thing is true with language, but the problem is, if you live in China, then you don't have enough time to practice. You're not in an English environment. Right? You're not in an English environment, so you don't have much time to speak it or read it or write it or listen to it. So that means that most of you don't get enough practice. You don't get enough practice. But you can change that if you just learn how to think in English. Then you can live in Beijing, you can live in Shanghai, you can live in Tokyo, you can live in Berlin, you could live in Rio. It doesn't matter where you live. It matters what you think where you live. Right? So, 现在我就在美国，可是每天我可以讲中文。这是我的联系的。每天我练习想的。
I got you.
Okay, that's what you need to do.
Can I share about my story?
Sure.
For you about my experience. So maybe you can, according my experience, maybe you can give me a better advice. So actually, I was like the most Chinese people. I can speak it out, but after I use this app, I try to practice more and more day by day. I feel like I have a high improvement,
that's good.
Especially on my spoken English.
Okay.
Sometimes I can talk with the foreigner people like English native speakers for 2 hours.
Wow,
I feel
good.
like I have get some basic English sentence, some English skills. But for me right now, I have some workers who was located in Europe. Most of them are not non-English speakers. They have a strong accent, and we talk a lot professional topics.
Okay.
For me right now, how should I improve my English? Like
for that
vocabularies.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. How are you talking to them? Are you talking to them in real life, or on like a video call, or an audio call, or what?
Mostly we just send email. We have our company app, like WeChat, this kind of app, but we barely have some meetings, conversation for some professional topics.
Okay. Well, you can't really improve much if you're not really interacting with them. You know, emails, it's not really the same. You can craft a good email. That's not hard to do because you have time. Speaking is what you need to be doing more of. Usually when people tell me they're using English at work, especially if they're using English at work with people who are not natives, right? Like maybe they're from India or they're from Germany and they have an accent, right? You need to get comfortable with their voice. So what I tell people is you should record it if you can, right? So if you can, you should talk to these people and ask them, you know, hey, would you mind if I record our conversation? And if they say, why do you want to record? You could say, well, look, I'm learning English and I need to improve my listening. And you have an accent and I need to improve my listening of and understanding of accents. So if you let me record some of our conversations, then I can practice listening to you later and understand your voice better, right? So
Yeah.
if you listen to different people every time, you can't really improve, right? So that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make with their listening practice. They make two mistakes. One is they don't listen to someone consistently. Today they're listening to this guy, then tomorrow they're listening to that girl, then tomorrow they're listening to this person. They listen to too many different people. That's not good in the beginning because it's making it too hard for you. All right. You should choose one or two or three people who have great voices. That's the other problem, is that most people, when they practice listening, you listen to anybody who speaks English. Why? Why do you just listen to anybody who opens their mouth? Choose somebody who has a great voice. Choose somebody who speaks really well. Don't just choose any guy on YouTube. Choose somebody really well. Those are the two biggest problems. Is one, listeners, they don't choose carefully to choose someone who's great at language. They just listen to some guy on YouTube. And then two, they listen to many different people. And if you listen to different people all the time, you're not getting any consistent practice. Because it's changing. The slang, the accent, the grammar, everything is changing every time that you listen. That's not going to help your practice, right? So you should choose carefully and find a few people who speak really well and listen to them. Now, later, in time, your ears will get better, and then your ears will start to be able to understand other people who don't speak so clearly. But in the beginning, you should not listen to just anyone. You should choose people who have great care with their words. Okay? And that's hard to find.
Agree.
That's actually hard to find. People are not careful with their words, especially today. So to find somebody who you can tell they're thinking about their words, they're careful about what they say, they're crafting their words, that's hard to find, but very valuable. Once you find it, follow it.
Okay, during our conversation, I can 100% understand what I'm talking. Each word I totally understand. So I feel like that's a good
It is,
advice.
right. That's what I tell people, is that if you can understand me, then that's good. That means you can understand. The problem is you're listening to the wrong people. You're listening to someone who doesn't speak well. Why can you understand me? People ask me this all the time. They say, why can I understand you 100%, but I can't understand the guy on YouTube? One, it's my job. I'm a teacher. This has been speaking well and explaining things well and clearly. That's my job. You have to think about it and be conscious of it, right? And I have a lot of experience doing it. And also, I used to teach children. And that's a great experience for a teacher, because when you teach children, it teaches you to speak simply and slowly and clearly. Because children, if you don't speak slowly and simply and clearly, they can't understand you, right? But the beauty of that is simple, slow, clear language works well for anyone, right? So it works well for adults. It works well for children. That's why you understand me. Also, because I use really, really good equipment. I'm a musician. If you look behind me, I'm a drummer, right? So I've been a musician for most of my life, much longer than I have been an English teacher. And sound quality is really important to a musician. So when I decided to do this, I got the best microphone that you can get. This is the same microphone CNN uses. So,
it's really good.
It's
really
the
good.
quality of the audio should be as good as it can possibly get. There is not much better that you can do than what I'm doing here. So, and I did that on purpose because I know that, watch what happens. If the sound quality is not good, now you won't be able to understand me. So I'm going to prove it to you. Do you guys know what reverb is? What is reverb? Do you guys know what reverb is?
Let me try reverbs. Oh, I understand. A kind of equipment, music equipment.
Kind of, yeah. Reverb is short for reverberation. Reverberation, which means the sound is hitting the walls and then coming back, right? And for example, I remember when I was studying Chinese at a university in Taiwan, I had to take a listening test, and I was in this classroom. And the classroom was big and open, and the walls were hard, and the floor was hard, and the ceiling was hard. So when you clapped in that room, it was like, right? It was really loud.
A kind of echo, right?
That's right. That's called reverb. That's called reverb. When you make a clap, and then the sound travels, how long it travels, that's called reverberation, right? And then that sound will travel and hit the wall and come back, and then it makes it even more unclear. So I took my listening test, and I couldn't understand anything, and I was really angry, and I said, wait a minute, I want to take the test again. Give me some headphones. I want some headphones. I'm going to take the test again with headphones. I took the test again with the headphones. I did fine. The problem was this. Look, if you have reverb, then now your voice is not clear. Yeah. Look at that. It's hard to understand now. But you take it away, and now it's clear. Right? So that's the, sound quality is important. It's really important, right? And so that's why I tried to make it as clear as possible for you guys. Yeah.
Actually, I have another 2 questions.
Okay.
The first is, no matter when I watch YouTube videos, I like to read the subtitles because I can understand mostly, but some of I don't know what they're talking. But with the subtitles, I can understand what I say. So, do you recommend me to read the subtitles or just listening 100?
For YouTube, so here's what I recommend. What I recommend is you should find a YouTube channel or a podcast that you can listen to that has a transcript. What is a transcript? Yeah, do you know what a transcript? Yeah, it's printed out though. It's the subtitles, but now you can print out a PDF and you can hold it and you can see it and you can make notes. So if you see a vocabulary word you don't know, now you can circle it and figure it out later. If you see a phrase that you like, you say, "Oh, I like the way they said that. I want to remember that." Highlight it or something, right? So if you really want to improve, reading the subtitles is okay, that's fine, but it's not really going to help you that much. But if you have the subtitles in your hands, now you can make notes. Now you can turn that into learning material. Okay, so here's the difference. There are 2 kinds of learning, passive learning and active learning. When you just listen to somebody and you read the subtitles, that's passive learning. And it's not as effective. But if you have the paper in your hands and you can read it and make notes, now it's active learning. Now you'll remember and you'll study and you'll learn more. Okay, so that's the big difference is you have to remember that sometimes when you're watching TV or movies to learn English, you have to remember that TV and movies are not designed to teach English. So they're not good learning materials unless you make them learning materials. If you get the transcript, now that TV show can be a learning material. But if you don't have the transcript, then really, okay, it's nice. You're listening to English, you're watching English, that's good. But it's not studying. It's not studying. It's not studying until you make it active. Okay, if it's passive, it's just passive. Okay, and you need to balance active learning and passive learning. You need both.
Understand. Okay, thank you. Another question is about my boy. I have a boy, 5 years old. Actually, I would like to try to learn a new kind of language. It is let him study, but he's a baby, so I try to like him watch a lot of English cartoons. So right now he can speak some basic sentence like "It's raining." I like potato. I like banana.
Okay, that's good.
So,
and how old is he
yeah,
again?
5 years old.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Yeah, yeah. He can remember when there is a food. The first reaction is maybe he will say English. Maybe broccoli, he will not say 西兰花. Banana, he will not say 香蕉.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the first reaction maybe sometimes is English word.
Wow, that's
So,
good. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But sometimes he like watch the high level English cartoons. I feel like it's hard for him, but
Yeah, no, go ahead. Go ahead. But
I don't think so. It's good to help him improve his English. So I want to let him watch some basic like, how are you?
Yeah, sure. So I would say this. Yeah, you're right that if he's listening to things that are really difficult cartoons, can you tell me, like, what is he listening to? Can you give me a name of something?
like Peak George, like Bluey, like Doggy.
Okay, so
kind of-
yeah, right. So I would say that it's not bad for him to watch something that's a little bit more advanced, but you're right, it might be hard for him. Like, here's what we say in America. We say every book is a children's book if that child can read. So if a child picks up Shakespeare is hard, but if he wants to try, let him try. Right? So that's what I would say about these cartoons too. If he wants to try, if he likes them, then let him try. But you're right, you should also give him something that's a little bit more on the level for him. I would suggest Peppa Pig is good. Peppa Pig is super popular around the world for people learning English, kids learning English. It's a little silly, but those kinds of cartoons, little, simple kids cartoons like Peppa Pig are great for kids of that age. What I usually tell people, Adam, is between the ages of like 2 and 3 and 5 or 6, in that age, it's better to create a mostly passive learning environment. Kids are too young to push them. So don't push them yet. But what you can do is you can surround them with English, right? Just create an English environment for them, and that will be what they can learn from. And you're already doing that by just teaching them things like banana and whatever, right? That's good, right? But you can do that by using little notes, like write little notes and stick them around your apartment, like with the Chinese word and the English word. My apartment when I lived in Taiwan was covered with notes with Chinese and English so that I could remember, this is the name for this, and this is the name for that. And it was great. Table, 桌子. Okay, right? Like that helps me every day. If I see it, it's good, right? And then, when you give him an apple, you know, 你要吃苹果吗? Or do you want an apple? Right? You say both.
Yeah.
Say both so that he hears both and he'll start making connections, right? But in this stage, I don't give them homework. I don't push them. I don't give them any books. I don't give them anything that's active learning. I create an environment that's a passive learning environment, right? Just allow them to live with English around, okay? And it sounds like you're already doing that, so that's good. I think you're doing the right things. And then remember, Adam, use English as much as you can, because that's a big mistake Chinese parents make, is that I know so many Chinese parents who they have pretty good English, but they never use it at home. And so their kids never see them using it. So the kids think it's not that important.
I have the same problem. Actually, I want to talk with him in English, but I have a strong accent. I worry about when I talking with him, he will follow my accent, follow my grammar, because
That's
my
okay.
English is not perfect.
No, that's okay though. It's not important. That's not important. Don't worry about that. What is important is that he sees that you respect English, that he sees that you think English is important. That's what's most important, okay? Perfection is not,
Yeah.
okay? And even better, one of the best ways to learn is to teach. So what you should be doing is everything that you're learning, teach your boy. Teach your boy. And then you're learning together. The both
Yeah.
of you are learning. You're practicing and he's learning, right? And that's a really great thing. And then you can work on improving your accent and your grammar, but while you're doing it, you can teach him, right? So you could teach him about past tense, right? Teach him about past tense, and you can say, 今天我去学校. Okay, today I go to school. Okay, 昨天我去学校. Yesterday I went to school, right? Tell him that in English, you have to change it, right? In Chinese, you just change the day. You just say yesterday or today. But in English, you have to change the word, right? So teach him. Teaching will be good for
Teach
you.
him and correct him.
That's right. Yeah, teach him and correct him, and that's what's most important, is if he sees that dad thinks it's important and dad uses English, now he'll care. But so many Chinese parents, they have good English, but they never use it at home. Sometimes I tell the parents what you should do is, like, every Friday you should have English dinner. Right? Like maybe every Monday, every Tuesday, whatever, something like that. Once a week, you have 2 hours that's only English, no Chinese, and then show them that, hey, look, that's important. We're going to try to just do English together.
That's a good tip.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
If in the live stream, if there is some guys have the similar situation with me, so for kids education, I would like to say first is interesting. Make your kids are interested in English.
That's right.
At least he can accept English.
Right.
So I feel like that's the first important thing.
Absolutely.
And the second is find something they are interested in, like cartoons, no matter what kind of.
Sure.
Just he like it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You
Yeah.
know, for my boy, he like comedian. He like funny things.
Okay, that's good.
So I feel like he don't understand the English what they are talking. He just like the action is so funny.
Yeah, right.
The
Yeah.
voice is so funny.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. He'll learn the meaning of the funniness later. Right now, he just sees people are laughing and people are having fun, and he wants to be a part of that, right? And that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. He'll learn the meaning of it later. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
My kid, my baby is 5 years old.
Yeah, that's a good age. Sometimes parents, they ask me, what should I do for my 2-year-old? And I'm like, not much. Don't do much. He's 2. He's 2. You should feed him and change his diaper. That's what you should do. That's don't do too much when they're only 2 or 3, guys. Let me tell you this, Adam. One of the things I found when I was teaching in Taiwan, one thing that depressed me a little bit was sometimes I would meet kids in my class. They're only 8 years old, they're 9 years old, they're 10 years old, but they already hate learning. They already hate. Yeah. Like if you're already 10 and you're burned out, then that's not good. But these kids, Adam, these kids would wake up at like 7:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, whatever. They'd go to school from 8 o'clock until 2:30. And then they walk across the street to the bushiban, and they're in the bushiban from 8 o'clock or from 2:30 in the morning until 8 or 9 or 10 at night every day. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm a teacher, and even I was like, this is too much. What are you doing to these kids, man? You know, and then I would tell them that American kids in elementary school, you come home at 4 o'clock, and then that's it. You play. You play at 4 o'clock. You play and you have fun with your friends. You have dinner. You watch TV with your parents. Then you go do your homework. Then you go to bed. Then you wake up. But we have free time. We have time to play sports. We have time to do activities and meet with our friends and go hang out. You know, that's time that's important because it lets you recharge. But the kids that I saw, so many of them, they never had any time to recharge, so they're already burned out. And that's sad. To be burned out at 10 years old, that's sad. That's really sad. Yeah.
I feel like this is by the education system.
Yeah, it is. It's the education system, and it's like tradition, and the pressure from the parents is tremendous, you know, and the pressure on the kids for school is tremendous, you know. Everybody in China wants to get into a good school and have a good GPA, but the problem is everybody does. Everybody does have a good GPA, and everybody does get into a good college. And in America, we have a famous, there's a quote from a guy named Rod Serling. He says, being just like everybody is the same as being nobody.
Yeah,
and it's
totally
true.
Agree.
Yeah, and so that's what happens is now everybody in China has a high GPA and everybody in China has a good degree from a good university. Well, guess what? Now everybody's the same, so it's kind of like you didn't do anything because you're not different in any way, you know? So, yeah, it's important that you have to find your own path, you know, because if you don't, then you're not valuable, unfortunately, you know? Yeah.
That's I agree with. I would like my boy. He's unique.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the funny part about it is you don't have to try. Every child is unique. But some parents encourage them to be unique and some parents discourage them from being unique. And I'm not telling you to be weird. I'm not telling you to go against things just to go against things. I'm saying that every human being is unique. That's a truth. That's a fundamental truth, is that everybody who's born is unique and different. So why do we treat them like they're not? We should allow everybody to find their own path in life. And, you know, unfortunately for some parents, they forget that you get one life. You get one life to decide things. Yours, right? Once your kid is 18 or whatever, they need to be able to make their own decisions, right? They need to be able to choose their own path in life. Yeah. Anyway, that's another side tangent, but the pressure is a lot in China to do well in school, and it's a lot. But it's funny because I used to work at one bushiban, and it was a private little. I loved working there. It was really great. It was only my classes were like, you know, either one-on-one or just 2 or 3 kids, 4 kids. That's awesome when you can teach a class with just 4 kids. Man, now you can really do some teaching. And it was a great little school. But my boss, she had 3 kids. None of them go to bushiban. So she owns a bushiban, and she teaches kids at the bushiban. With bushiban people, it means cram school. It means like an extra school. After school, you go to another school to study more, right? And yeah, her kids didn't go to them. And her kids were smart and got great grades and everything. And she even admitted that, yeah, it's too much. Sometimes we push them too much. And because we push them, now they don't like learning. And guess what? If you have 2 children, one child likes learning and the other one doesn't, who's going to do better? The child who likes learning is obviously going to do better, right? So it's not a good thing to do. If you're turning your kids off from learning, if you're doing anything to make your kids hate learning, that's not good. That's a really bad thing. Yeah.
Teacher Mark, actually, I want to have a deep discussion about this kind of situation. I used to have the same opinions like you say. Nobody. I feel like the students in China should difference. Someone have a high score, someone have a low score. But when I face the situation, if the other parents, kids have a high score, and in Chinese, the environmental, when you go to a good university and then you can have a good job. I mean, probably the high rate,
Right.
and you will have a good job. You will have a good life. So after when you face your kids studying not so good, so what would you like to do?
Okay, so two things. I didn't say that you shouldn't encourage your kids to do well in school. What I said was that sometimes we push kids to be the same, and we don't recognize when they have a talent that might be different, right? So, for example, Albert Einstein, he has a quote that I really, really love. He says, everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. And that's what happens in school a lot, is we say, that kid is in the math class, he's bad at math. Oh, you're stupid. You're stupid because you're bad at math. But that kid might be a brilliant artist. That kid might be a brilliant musician. That kid might be a brilliant historian or writer or something else, right? And so should you encourage him to be better at math? Sure, you should. But you should recognize that maybe he's not that good at math. That's not the end of the world. But instead of discouraging him, find what he is good at and encourage that. Right?
Yes.
And so I still think students need to be well-rounded. It's important to be well-rounded and to understand a little bit about everything, right? That's what school is supposed to do, is supposed to teach you about science and history and math and the world and culture and geography and geology and astronomy and all these things, right? It's supposed to give you knowledge, right? So, but Adam, there's another very important truth about learning. I can't get mad at the flower for not blooming at the right time. Some flowers bloom in March and some flowers bloom in August. Am I going to get mad at the flower because it didn't bloom in March? That's how students are.
Be patient, right?
Yeah, sometimes one year I'll have a student who that student is a pain in my ass and he's a really difficult kid and he doesn't like to learn and he's never trying. The next year, that same kid could be my favorite. They open up, suddenly the light turns on and now they like it, right? It doesn't always happen, but what I'm saying is that every student, you have to remember that students are ready to learn at a different time. Every student is ready to learn at a different time. And so sometimes, like me, when I was in school, to be honest with you, I was not very good until after high school. In high school and in elementary school, I liked learning, but I didn't like doing it the way they did it in school. And so I didn't do very well. And I didn't understand the process back then, and I didn't understand the importance of the way it was, what's the point of coming to school? When kids go to school, do you know why they go? They don't go to learn. They go to see their friends. The kids are going to school to see their friends. They're not going to school to learn. They don't like learning. Well, they feel that the learning is forced on them, right? They don't have a choice. That's why they say they don't like learning, because they feel that nobody asked them if you want to learn, right? So they feel that they should say, I don't like it because somebody didn't ask me, right? But every student is different, and you have to be patient. And just like me, I did bloom, but it took time, But I have skills that I started developing when I was young. You know, music. I started when I was 12 years old, 11, 12 years old, and I've been doing it ever since then. And because I did music, that's why I'm good at languages.
Okay.
Because
Makes sense.
music and language are very similar. There are so many similarities. And musicians learn intense methods of studying sound. That's what we do. We spend all of our time intensely listening and intensely developing sound. So we know about tempo, which means the speed. We know about intonation, the tone. We know about dynamics, the volume. We know about articulation, all these different things. Those are things in music, just like they're in language. Right? And so any musician has an advantage in learning languages.
I understand. I know for some rapper, singer, the dynamic is so difficult to remember it. It's so hard.
Yeah, you mean like rapping? Yeah, like that is an art. Yeah, that's a special thing. Like people like Eminem and Jay-Z, those guys have very special brains. Very special brains that are able to remember. I can't remember words at all, like lyrics for songs. I can't remember them. I'm a musician and I play in bands, and even in my own band, I can't remember the words in the song. But that's because my mind is not focused on the words. I'm a drummer. I'm focused on the music, right? But people like them, they're very focused on the words, and so they can memorize in incredible amounts.
It's just like an automation machine.
Yeah, right.
To spit it out.
Yeah, well, it is. That's exactly right. They've trained their brain to be really fast. Really fast with language, right? But how do they do that? Do they do it by speaking? No, they do it by thinking. Same thing, yeah. They spend all day thinking about words and how they can craft words. They're playing with words in their mind. I'm glad you brought this up. This is a perfect example of what I mean about thinking and how thinking is important. Why are rappers so brilliant at language? They are very fast, you're right, but they also spend a lot of time thinking about, this word means this and it sounds like this. What's another word I could put together that would sound cool? They play with the words a lot in their mind all the time. So that's why I think it's so important for you to play with the language in your mind, you know?
So it's like the training your muscle. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, just the brain muscle.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah, that's exactly right. Training your brain is no different than training your muscles. You have to have a system. You know, if you say, I want to work out, but your idea of working out is, every like once a day you lift something for 5 minutes, and then once a day you walk upstairs for 5 minutes, you're never gonna get good. You're never gonna be strong. You have to have a plan, right? Okay, on Monday I do this, on Tuesday I do this, on Wednesday I do this, right? I'm gonna run for 30 minutes, I'm gonna work out for 25 minutes on the weightlifting. You have a plan. But learning, unfortunately, school, when you go to school, lots of kids don't learn how to plan to learn. They don't know how to make a plan to learn something because it was all handed to them. They said, learn this like this. They give it to you and they tell you what to do. But one of the most important things about learning is understanding, okay, I want to learn to play the piano. How? How do I do that? Okay, well, I need to understand what are the parts of piano, right? You have to break it down. So if you want to learn, one of the skills of learning is understanding, how do I break this big thing down into a system of small things that I can learn easily with a practiced pattern? Okay, that's the art of learning. But so many students don't know how to do that. And they come here and say, how do I learn English? And I think that's a very strange question to ask. I do. Because why are you asking me? Why don't you know? Why don't you know? How did you learn your language? Like, it's not hard. Sit down and make a system. There are some systems that are better than others, but still, just make a system,
You talk about the learning skills. I would like to share about my experience. For me, I feel like no matter high school, university, I'm always at the average because I study hard, but I don't get the point how to make me study good. But after I'm working and in company we have to finish the project. We have to survive the issues. So after the working training, I feel like how to survive the problems. And at that time, I feel like I have a clear logic in my brain. So how the step one is what should I do? Step two is that, and then I know how to make a plan,
Right.
how to improve.
Right.
So that's my experience. So even though I have studied for almost 22 years old or more, but I still don't get the point how to
Right, until
learn.
later. Right, that's me too.
Yeah.
I didn't learn how to learn until after school. It was kind of funny. I didn't learn how to learn until later, I always loved learning, but I didn't like to do it the way they did it in school, and nobody encouraged me to find my own way to do it, right? School has many, many problems. The way we teach has many problems, and it definitely needs to improve. But one thing that we do is we tell people that school is something that you do when you're young. That's stupid. School is something that you should do your whole life. In a perfect world, universities should be free, and you should be able to go to university at any age for any reason at all. Because guess what? University is not about making money at a better job. University is about learning and growing and making the world a better place. And people who don't know anything, people who don't know anything about the world cannot make the world a better place.
I used to talk about a friend who was born and raised in United States, and he applied for a famous UCLA university. And I used to ask her a question. After I graduated from the university, I feel like I don't have any skills. I mean, when I joined the company, I have nothing. I'm a new fish. I'm a fish.
Yeah.
So I try to relearn some skills. And do you have the same experience? You are graduated from the UCLA, and his major is economic, and she told me that he have a similar situation, like he have nothing about from the university, and he started to learn.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what the percentage is, but there's a huge percentage of people who study one thing, but the job they get has nothing to do with what they studied. It's not at all related. Most people, I think it's like 60 or 70%.
Most people.
That's right.
For some special, like very, very professional skills, like coding, like math, like this, they have to handle some skills. That's the truth. But for mostly a lot of my major is electrical automation, but I I can't do nothing. At the
Right.
beginning,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
working.
this is another big problem with college is college does need to find it needs to figure out how to become right in between. It does need to be practical. So we do need to encourage people to figure out how to make their learning useful for a job. But we shouldn't be encouraging people to make their learning about making money. We should be learning to make the world a better place. I mean, I don't know why that's hard to say. I don't care how much money you like or how much money you have. If you have no knowledge and no empathy, then your money means nothing. So and unfortunately that is a problem today. We have a lot, not a small number. There are a large number of people who graduate from universities and they have no knowledge and they have no empathy and all they want is money. We've created a world where everybody's a bit desperate right now, and unfortunately the answer is not more desperation. The answer is cooperation and collaboration. Work together, not against each other. It's funny, the word competition means to work against each other, people, right? But actually the original meaning of competition in Greek language, it meant to work together.
Yeah, work together, teamwork.
Yeah. It meant that you were going to do a competition with a bunch of people together. But it wasn't about I'm better than you. No, the word translates, if I remember right, the correct translation is to strive together. To strive together, which means to try to do something together, right? So now when we compete, it's like, I'm going to be better than you. I want to have more than you. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So anyway, Adam, I need to let you go because I need to get to a few other people here. But you had some really great questions, and it was a pleasure to talk with you. Really, thank you for coming. Thank you for asking cogent and poignant questions. There's some good vocabulary words for you. Cogent means well thought out, and poignant means kind of specially important. Like, oh, that's a good point. That's a poignant point. Okay. So thank you very much, Adam. Yeah. Come back and see me again sometime. Okay.
Okay. See you.
Take care. All right, let me check some comments here just because I'm sorry, guys. I was having such a good conversation with Adam that I wasn't able to answer the comments here. So if you have comments, let me try to get some of them here. You're 18 years old. Can you learn English? Of course. That's a silly question, Hamza. You know the answer to that. Millions and millions and millions of 18-year-olds and 28-year-olds and 38-year-olds and 48-year-olds learn English. Why can't you? Okay. Let's see. Annie, I know you want to know about that kind of thing in America, but we don't talk about that here because that talks about politics, and we're not allowed to talk about politics or religion here, okay? And to be honest with you, I'm tired of answering that question. Lots of Chinese people want to know about it, but there is no simple answer about why do we have guns? There is no simple answer. It would take me hours to explain it. I don't like them. I don't want them. I don't think they're good. But I can understand why we have them because I know our history as a country, right? But if you don't know the history, then it doesn't make sense, okay? But it would take me hours. It's not an easy question to answer. Okay, so, and again, it's not a fun topic for me to talk about. I don't want to talk about guns, okay? Let's see. How do you deal with children who never like to study and use the poor educational system as an excuse? Let me think about that. Nazia, how old, Nazia? Can you tell me how old that child is? Are you still here, Nazia? Okay. Well, what I would generally say to that child is whether your school is good or not doesn't matter. the world still needs you to learn. So you better figure it out, right? If you don't have a good educational system, that doesn't mean you can't learn, especially today. Geez, today you have ChatGPT, you have everything is at your fingertips. You can learn. It has never, ever in the history of mankind, it has never been so easy to self-learn than now. There are more tools available to you. There is more good information available to you now than ever in the history of mankind. And you don't need to ask for it. You don't even need to pay for it. Okay? You like to kick someone's ass with quick and cool words. Yeah, I know, Elaine, but language is not just for the purpose of gotcha. You know, like saying gotcha. You know, I said something that made you go, wow, you know, you beat me, you know. That's fun, but there are better purposes for language. All right, I'm trying to catch up with the comments. My incredible knowledge in the stream has 400 views, whereas a guy just showing his face but doesn't share any insight has 1,486 views. Why is that? Well, Derek, I don't know how long that guy was on. Sometimes that number, it depends on the amount of time. Right? Sometimes those people who have 1,400 people, they were on for 5-6 hours doing nothing. So that number of people means somebody came in and then left, and then came in and left. That doesn't mean they're keeping them there. Most of those people who have 1,400 views, they have 10 people in the room most of the time. I have 140 people in my room. So, but also, Derek, unfortunately, a lot of people are just interested in stupid stuff. And there are a lot of people on Hello Talk who turn on the camera and do stupid stuff. I'm sorry, I'll say it. It's true. There are lots of stupid people doing stupid stuff on Hello Talk on the live streams. Not everybody's doing something that's of value, okay? But part of the other reason is because I don't have enough people who help me. If you like what I do and you're not telling other people, then you're the problem. Okay? Yeah, if you think I'm doing a good job, then why aren't you helping me? Then why aren't you telling people? You know? Right? You recognize that some dummy who's doing nothing, he's got 1,500 views, but I'm working hard and I got not much, right? So I've got. Let's see. We don't have enough time to find out what we really like, but we do have to choose a major which should be related to our career in university. But Zora, that's what we were saying, is that the majority of people who choose a major in university, their career doesn't match their degree at all. Like 60-70% of people who around the world, whatever degree they got, the job they get, not related. It's very common. Okay. Well, that's a nice thing to say. Thank you, Elaine. Annie, don't worry about the guns. Do you worry about typhoons when you travel? No. Do you worry about tornadoes when you travel? No. That's the way we think about it, okay? It's not something to worry about, okay? My boy is 8 years old. He likes everything except studying. Every time he studies, he's always sleepy, but when he goes outside, he's another guy. What should I do? You should find a better way to let him study. Find fun ways to let him study, to study. Alyssa, Finland, the country of Finland, they used to have the worst test scores in Europe in their schools, okay? And they used to do the standard traditional method of teaching. Okay, but then they changed their complete system completely, right? And now they focus on learning through play. And guess what? Now they have the highest scores, or some of the highest scores in Europe, because they focus on learning through play. Play is the number one way to learn. Every study proves it. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. Every study proves it. That's the funniest thing about Asia, is that you guys think memorizing is the most amazing study tool ever. Memorizing is the worst way to learn. It's the worst. I don't know why you keep doing it. There are many, many other ways that are better. And one big reason why memorizing is a bad way to learn is because it's boring. So your kid is not going to like memorizing because no one likes memorizing. It's not possible to like memorizing. Memorizing is intellectual torture. It's not learning. Memorizing is intellectual torture. Do we all use iPhones, or do you use Xiaomi phones? Rumble, the majority of Americans have iPhone or Samsung or some Android phone, okay? Xiaomi is not that popular here. I think it's, some people, but I think the top three are Samsung, Google, and iPhone. Misaki, my live schedule is on my website, but I haven't updated it, so don't go there yet. But you can go to my website maybe tomorrow. Okay, I'll try to finish my schedule tonight. My website's right here. You can find my schedule on my website. Okay? All right, again, please be patient. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. I'm almost caught up. Let's see. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate you sharing. Your son studies English at high school, but your English level is very low. Well, Elaine, then maybe you should start learning with him. Show him English is important. Prove it by doing it yourself. There's a famous teleplay in China. A very nice boy went to study in the USA. Finally got shot by the other kid and died. Yeah, okay. Well, propaganda much? Annie, millions of people come to the United States every year, and nothing happens. Millions. Okay? Annie, I just read a story about China. I just read a story about two boys who, 17-year-old kids who went to a hot pot restaurant in Shanghai. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And what did they do in Shanghai? What did they do, Annie? Should I think that every Chinese hot pot restaurant is like that? Should I think that that's what happens in all of China because it happened in that one restaurant in Shanghai? No. Okay? Yeah. Annie, did you hear in the news about Shanghai? There was a hot pot restaurant in Shanghai, and two 17-year-old Chinese boys decided to pee, to urinate in the hot pot restaurant soup. They thought it was funny. And they put a video of it and put it out on the internet. Yeah, how sick is that? Yeah, right, disgusting, right? Do a search for it, Annie. Shanghai hot pot restaurant. I'm sure it'll come up. Okay, so, yeah. So should I think that that's the way every Chinese restaurant is? No, of course not. Of course not. I'll go eat at a Chinese restaurant and I won't think about that. Okay? I don't know if they drank the soup, but they had to reimburse like 4,000 people. The restaurant had to reimburse 4,000 people 10 times the amount they spent. So, anyway. All right, let me catch up here. I'm almost done. Here. Calcium. So what's the correct way to learn something? That's a long answer, Calcium. Follow me here. Follow me for 3 months and you'll find the correct way to learn something. Okay? My son told me he was learning English from video games. Yeah, lots of people do learn English from video games, but the problem is, Elaine, the English they learn in video games is usually terrible English. Okay? Video game English is for morons. Let me say that one more time. If you play video games, good for you. I don't, but good for you. But whatever you're typing, don't pretend that that's good English. Okay? You're not going to find good English on a video game. People are playing the game. They're not trying to be careful with their language. They're not trying to write well. They're trying to write quickly. So you're not going to learn well. Okay? Yeah. I would say about 90% or maybe 95% of the people who play video games and type in English, the English is horrid, terrible, atrocious, just unbelievably bad. Leo, I don't know what you're talking about. If you just listen with us help you learn English. That will help you learn English, but it won't be enough to learn English completely. You have to do more than just listen, Hamza. Okay? Listening is a start, but you have to do more. Okay? Okay. All right. Listen, guys. Listen. What's the right way to learn English? Jesus. I'm writing a book about this, okay? It's a lot of information to try to tell you all in one quick part. But let me try to give you a quick answer. Okay? How should you learn English? 1, you should sit down and make a plan. And your plan should have 8 parts. You should write down these words. Write down. Right now. Write it down. Reading. Writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. Let me say it again. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. Reading, writing, listening, speaking, thinking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. Those are the 8 parts of language. Now you have to make a plan. How am I going to study reading every day? Do reading in 3 ways. Do small reading, medium reading, big reading. How am I going to do writing every day? Do small writing, do big, medium writing, and do big writing. How am I going to work on my grammar every day? Do small grammar practice, medium grammar practice, and big grammar practice. That's the proper way to learn English. Okay, follow my live streams. That's the proper way to learn English. Wakar says, in my opinion, you can learn any language by speaking and listening. Yeah, you can, but you can learn it better by doing everything. Just because you can do it doesn't mean it's the best way. I can learn how to ride a bike by reading a book. But is it the best way? No. My idea about English language acquisition is that you need to acquire the language in your mind, or you're not acquiring it at all. If you don't acquire the language in your mind, then you aren't acquiring the language. I don't care how well you can write or read or listen or speak. I care how well you can think. Duchess, follow me here, okay? I can't help any one person, but I help 80,000 people. Okay? So I can't help you, singular, but I can help you, plural. Okay? Should you focus on grammar when you speak English? Depends on where you are. RPG 7. If you're in school, focus on grammar more. If you're at work, if you have English in your work, then focus on grammar more. If you're taking an English test, like the IELTS test, focus on grammar. But if you're just speaking, then no, you're right. You should focus more on vocabulary and less on grammar, okay? What do I mean by small, medium, and large? I mean, Masood, you should do, when you study, most of you think that studying is only good if you do it for a long time, right? So you say, I studied for 3 hours last night, and you're proud of yourselves. That's great. But if you really want to study, then you should study in 3 different ways, 3 different time periods, right? Find ways to study for 5 minutes. Many times per day, right? So if you're just in an elevator or you're walking down the street or you're in the back of a taxi, use that 5 minutes to do some reading. Use that 5 minutes to learn a couple vocabulary words. Use that 5 minutes to listen to something, okay? That's 5-minute learning, small learning. Medium learning is like 20 minutes. Do something that's a 20-minute exercise. So you have 5-minute exercises, 20-minute exercises, and hour or longer exercises. That's what I mean by small, medium, and large learning. Don't just sit down and try to do 3 hours every day. It's not effective. It's not efficient. You have to find ways to do learning in 3 different ways and try to learn every chance that you can, every opportunity that you can. Is it very difficult to find a not bad job abroad? Well, that depends on what career you're in. That depends on what credentials you have in your CV. That depends on many, many, many things. It's very difficult to find a nice job in China if one is over 40. Yeah, I think that's true for just about the whole world. But Annie, that's why it's so important that you have to be an individual. You have to find ways to make yourself valuable. The first thing you should do when you get a new job, whatever job it is, I don't care who you are or what you do, if you want to keep that job, then the first thing you should do is find a way to make yourself specially valuable at that job. Specially valuable. That means that there are some things that you know how to do that nobody else there knows how to do. Or that you do them better. Or you created your own system that's better than everybody else's system. That's how you make yourself specially valuable. And then you won't have to worry about losing a job, or people will want to hire you because you are specially valuable. Take care, Adam. Yeah, it was great to talk to you. How to get a doctor's license in America? You have to go to medical school. I always drink iced coffee. I don't think it's that bad for me. Yunina, 有时候我说快一点，有时候我说慢一点。我觉得你需要。都需要听 ，OK？ 如果你听我每天的，我觉得你可以一些，你可以听得懂我说什么。如果我说太快了 ，OK？ 这是 OK， 试试看 ，OK？You're still reading the Elements of Style and you still have not found anything better? All right, great. Elements of Style is great. But Masood, I have like 70 books about grammar and elements of style and stuff like that. I have like 70, maybe more than that, okay? One is great, but why limit yourself, okay? Don't limit your challenges. challenge your limits. Okay? Don't limit your challenges. Challenge your limits. All right. I finally caught up with all the comments. Let me see if I can talk to somebody else. Let's talk to Linda. Hello, Linda. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you, I'm doing great.
I'm pretty good too. So you're in China, or no, you're in Tehran. Are you in Tehran or where?
I was because of my university, but now because of the holiday, I'm in my hometown.
Which is what?
Tomorrow is the New Year holiday in Iran.
Okay.
It's Nowruz.
Nowruz. Oh, okay. All right. And what can I do for you today? Do you have a question for me?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, you're so expressive, so I wanted to ask, is there anything that I can do to be more expressive? Because mostly when I answer questions, I answer them so, like in just a couple of words. So I think if I answer them more in a more expressive way and use more words, it would be more suitable.
Okay, good.
So.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. You sound good right now, but I can give you a tip about how to do this. This is a perfect thing to use AI for, like ChatGPT or something like that. Okay, so what you can do is give ChatGPT some questions. Like there's a website you can go to. I'm going to type it in for you. iteslj.org. If you go to this website, there's a button on that website called questions. Click that button and it will give you this huge list of topics. Like every topic you can imagine is there. And then click on one topic and you'll see maybe 50 or 100 questions about that topic. So what you can do is choose a topic, choose maybe 10 questions, okay, from that topic. Then go to ChatGPT, copy those questions in, and tell ChatGPT, please give me answers for these questions. But I want 3 different answers. I want one simple answer, I want one medium answer, and I want one eloquent answer. And you can even tell it, give me one A1, A2 answer, give me one B1, B2 answer, and give me one C1, C2 answer. And it will. And it'll show you, oh, here's the simple way to answer it, here's the longer way to answer it, here's the really long way to answer it. That's a great way to practice for the IELTS test or the TOEFL test.
Cool. And thank you. And I have another question. I had problem with pronouncing the TH sound, the soft TH. So I worked on that. And now I am mispronouncing the S. And I pronounce it like the soft TH. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's not that uncommon. It happens sometimes. So here's what I would tell you is that one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're trying to improve their pronunciation is they don't do it long enough. So what I mean is, if you want to practice and improve a sound, then when you say that sound, you need to say it for as long as you can for your brain to actually learn it. So if you practice the word, for example, thank you, right? If you just say thank you, that goes by very quickly. Your brain only had 1 second to practice the sound. But if I say it like this, thank you. Now I've extended that sound, and now my brain will say, oh, I see what you're trying to do. Now I understand. That's the TH sound, right? So that's the first thing I would tell you, is that whatever sound you're trying to work on or improve, like if it's a V sound, right? Then when you say the word very, you should say very, right? If you're working on your L sounds, then it should be look, right? It should be long so that your brain can actually see the motion and learn what it's supposed to do. All right. Now, as far as your specific problem with THs becoming S's, how would I address that?
Like, I pronounced something like something. So
Yeah.
it sounds
Okay.
like
All right.
something.
So then
Yeah.
here's what I think you should do.
It not always happens. So
That's okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a piece of paper, and on the top of that paper, I want you to write 5 words in English that have the TH and the S. So do a search online. Just do a search online for words that have the S and TH in them, like something. Okay, and AI is another good one. ChatGPT is great for that, right? So there are many words that have S and TH in them. You need a list, and then you can write that down, and now you can practice saying something, something, something. Let me go ahead and try that, find that for you. Hold on. I'm going to use my ChatGPT right now. Let's see here. Give me a list of words that contain TH sound and the S sound in them, as in the word something. I need to practice my pronunciation with words containing both S and TH. Let's see what it does. Here we go. Here is a list of words that contain both TH sound and the S sound in different positions. These words will help you practice the transition between the two sounds, improving pronunciation and clarity. So, something, nothing, everything, anything, south, that's a good one. Let's see, northwest, right? Let's see, breathes, those are good. Or thistle, thirsty, right? Yeah. So if you write these down on a list, this is what I call your target accent improvement list. Target accent improvement list. If you make a list of words that are hard for you to say, and if you say them every day, you will get better. But the key is, you can't just say one word. You have to say many words that have that same problem. And you have to target it. You have to focus on it. So if you make a list, then you'll figure it out. Okay?
yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, speaking about learning languages or also learning process, I wonder, do you think it is better to write down the idioms that we hear or just listen to them? Because I watch a lot of movies. When I'm talking, I just have them, and it's kind of like it flows. So do you think it's better to write them down or just listen to them and grab the words that you think you're going to use in the future?
I think both. I think that if you're watching a movie, you have to remember that there are 2 ways to watch a movie. Okay, one is for fun and entertainment. And when you're watching for fun and entertainment, then yes, you can just watch and just try to listen and maybe try to remember a few idioms, right? But then if you want to actually learn, then you need to watch that movie again, but in a different mindset. And Linda, almost every American TV show and movie and podcast, they all have something online called a transcript, which means a printout of everything they say in that TV show or movie, like the subtitles, but it's something you can print and hold. And now, if you have that in your hands, you can circle the idioms and say, well, that's useful. And then you have it to hold. So now you can study it later. You can look at it again, right? Or the next time you watch the movie, it's different now because now you have actual study materials in your hands when you're watching it. Now that movie is actually educational for you. If you don't have any study material or then that movie is just a passive learning. It's passively. You're just listening and trying to learn. But if you have something in your hands, now you can make it active learning. Okay?
Okay, but I have my notebook and sometimes I write them down.
Yeah,
So do you think that's still passive or it's
no, writing them down
active?
is good. No, that's good. You should write them down. Yeah. Idioms are very important in English, especially American English. We do use them a lot. Okay. So what I would say is, when you're watching a movie, just enjoy the movie, you know? But then you can watch it again if you want to, and then make notes and try to write things down and get the transcript and study it, right? So that's what I tell people, is that if you want to learn English by watching TV and movies, you can, but you need to remember that that is not what they are designed for. So those TV shows and movies are not learning materials unless you make them learning materials. But you have to do something to make it actually studyable. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
And about your country, United States, how does your students got into college? Like in our country, we have an entrance exam.
Right.
So
yeah, same
do you have an
same kind of
exam,
thing.
or-
Yeah, we have an entrance exam, but we have it's like an interview process essentially, right? You apply from an application, and in that application, you have to tell all of your personal information, including your school history, like your GPA. GPA means grade point average. Right? Like what, for example, in America, if you get an A, that's a 4. If you get a B, that's a 3. If you get a C, that's a 2. If you get a D, that's a 1. So at the end of school, they add up all these points to see what's the average. And if you have a 4.0, you can go to Harvard, right? You can get into a great college if you have a 4.0 or better, right? But if you have a 2.0, now you can't get into Harvard, probably not. So maybe you have to go to another college that's not quite so nice. But really, the truth is, you can get a good education at almost any university. It doesn't really matter. What matters is you. If you go to a university and you want to study well, then you will. Right? It doesn't matter if you're at Harvard or the University of Toronto. But lots of students think that only a good college is a good way to get a good education, but it's just not true. It's just not true. So in America, you have to have a good GPA, and you also have to have more than that. We want more than just good grades, okay? We want extracurricular activities. We want to know, what do you do in life? Do you have any clubs? Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any interests? Do you have anything that you do outside of school? School is not the only thing in life, right? So in America, if you have a 4.0, but that's all, then the kid who has a 4.0 and he's on the sports team and he volunteers at the soup kitchen, that kid's going to get in, not you. Right? So, yeah. So in America, going to school is more than just the GPA, more than grades. You have to have character, and you have to show that you have skills and passions and talents that you want to pursue and interests in life, not just grades. Okay?
So I think that's way better than our country. In our country, the only thing that matters is the entrance exam. So
yeah, that's the way it is for a lot of places.
Students.
Same thing in China. It's just that way in China. Yeah, it's hard. But the good news...
A lot of mental problems happen to students in our country.
Yeah, same thing with China. Same thing with China. They push them so much. The pressure is too much. Kids commit suicide sometimes, that's not good. That's never good.
Yeah.
So,
and actually, the problem is when they get into university, they just let go of everything. They don't want to study anymore because they were under so much pressure
they
before.
were burned out.
So
That's
they
right.
just want to get a degree.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's when I taught in Asia, there were 10-year-old kids that I met who were already burned out. You're 10, man. Like, what are you doing? This kid is 10 years old, and he has the same pressure that a 40-year-old does. That's not normal. That's not good, Kids do need time to be kids. Kids need time to be kids.
I think it depends on the kids. So
of course it does.
I myself, when I was 10 years old, I went to like 11 classes, and every summer my parents were like, they were always worried because I always nagged that, what should I do now? I'm feeling really bored, and I don't know what to do. So they were so worried what they have to do with me. I think it really depends.
Yeah, but you know,
the pressure-
I think every parent worries about their kid and what their kid is going to do in life. But I think every parent needs to remember that parents treat their children like there are only 2 or 3 available paths in life. But there are
yeah.
billions of different paths in life. And that's the way it should be treated. You should understand that life, I'm not a very religious person, but there is one quote that I really like. If you want to make God laugh, make a plan. And what that means is that life doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. So parents think, well, we're going to plan for my child so that my child's life will be good. And I'm not saying you shouldn't plan. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I am saying that you need to remember that plans never work the way you think they're going to in life. Every time you make a plan, you need to be able to adjust and change, and life doesn't care about your plans.
Yeah, but I think they're only worried because they want them to have a job and
Yeah, of
not
course.
be broke. They just want to put them in a safe zone.
Yeah, of
so
course.
it's just a matter of society, and
Yeah.
they're not really faulty because of that.
No, of course, it's not their fault, but it's a common misconception that your child's life is not a simple math problem like 2 + 2 = 4. Your child's life is complex math, so don't treat it like it's simple math. Understand that your child's life is much more complicated than just go to school, do well, get a job. That's way too simple. Way too simple. So, yeah, anyway. Linda, again, you sound great. You know, I always like talking to people in Iran. I have about 80,000 followers, and my top 3 countries are China, Egypt, and Iran. So I have a lot of followers in Iran. Yeah. And it's always interesting for me. It really, really is. I love talking to people in Iran because, you know, my country and your country, we don't have a great history together, unfortunately. And that's why it's so funny how Iranians don't know enough about Americans and Americans don't know enough about Iranians. We just don't, you know? So when I got a chance...
It sounds like we're all being manipulated about our countries.
Well,
like
a little bit.
You,
Yeah.
you think that
Yeah.
our country is
That's-
like a terrorist
Well,
and it's not safe?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the politics of it because we're not supposed to talk about politics here. But yeah, yeah, you're right. Like the truth of the matter is that that's one beautiful thing about the time we live in now is that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago, whatever our leaders told us about the other country, that's what we believed. But now you can talk to me. I can talk to you. And that's different because now we go, wait a minute. I thought that they were supposed to be like, not like this, you know, like, so then when you talk to people and you say, well, that's cool. That's not what I thought, you know? So, Anthony Bourdain is one of my heroes. He was an American chef and he became a TV host. He had a lot of travel shows and he used to travel around the world and he would show culture from around the world, specifically food culture, but all culture. And he went to Iran. He's one of the few Americans who went to do his show in Iran. They got permission specially to go do that. And one of the things he said is the same thing that I felt, which is that people told him that Iranians would be nice, but he didn't know that they'd be the nicest people he ever met. That's what he said, you know? And that's kind of how I feel too, is like, I didn't know what it was going to be like to talk to Iranians, but now I've talked to hundreds of them, I think, and I've not had any bad experiences. It's been great. And I'm always impressed with Iranians have the best English in the Middle East. I'll say that. Iranians have the best English in the Middle East. It's I can say I have talked to every country, and Iranians have the best vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation in general of the Middle Eastern countries. Yeah, and it's always impressive to me.
Yeah, I told you before, it's because of English classes, which is really popular in our country.
Yeah, I can tell.
And I went to English class when I was like 8 years old. So, yeah.
One of my followers is a little girl in Tehran. Her name is Hila, and her mother lets her watch my show because she knows that I keep it clean and I'm a serious teacher and everything. And she's like 9, 10, and her English is amazing. It's like when I first talked to her, I thought, wait a minute, like, were you born in California? Because you sound like you were born in California. And she's so bright and happy and smart, and it's just so great. I love to talk to her because her English is amazing, and her spirit is so bright, and she's not afraid. She's not afraid. So many people are afraid to raise their hand and come talk to me. Not Hila. She loves to come talk to me. She's never afraid. And I really think that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, thank you. But I just have one more question. What do you think about my English level between A1 and C2?
You are definitely in the C1, C2 range. Yeah, absolutely C1, C2.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that was higher than I thought.
Yeah, we're not having a C1, C2 conversation really right now, right? But, I mean, we're not trying to, right? We're speaking casually. When you speak casually, you don't use giant words that you don't need, right? But I can tell that you speak freely, that you're thinking in English, that you can express yourself. That's advanced. Okay? If you're able to, you know what? It's very simple, guys. Language is like music, right? So some people, they are able to make beautiful music with their language, and some people can't. I hear music when you speak.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for your compliment.
Yeah, that means it's advanced. If I hear music in your language, then it's good. All right? That's what I tell people is don't be perfect with your language. Be musical. What does musical mean? It means it sounds good to your ears. Right?
All right.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, Linda, it was a pleasure to talk to you, and come back and see me again sometime, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Good luck to you. Take care.
Thanks, Arjun.
Okay, let's see. Fluffy says we need to have connections mostly for success. That's kind of true. That's kind of true, right, Guanxi, right? But, yeah. And if you want to make connections, that's good, but you still need to have connections, you need to have knowledge, you need to have passion, right? You need to have all those things to have success, okay? All right, let's see. Thank you, Hayden. I appreciate that. Thank you for the compliments, guys. 听不懂，为什么你听不懂我说什么？加油，试试看。你可以啊。And Kuzaima, if you want to speak to me, raise your hand and maybe I'll talk to you. But, Kuzaima, it's rude to just say, give me the mic. Okay? Kuzaima, if you want to talk to someone here on Hello Talk, the first thing you must do is always introduce yourself. Okay? Don't just say, please talk to me. That doesn't work, okay? So introduce yourself. And if you don't know how to introduce yourself, that's what you should go be working on right now. You should write an introduction in Urdu and then translate it to English and learn how to introduce yourself well. That is the first thing that you should learn in any language. How to introduce yourself well, okay? Let me check my. Oh, hello, Miguel, and hello, Asa. I'm doing good, Miguel. How are you? How are things? And remind me, Miguel, are you still in New Orleans, or what's going on with that? Okay, see, that's good. That's a good start, Kuzaima. That's a good start. You said, I'm Kuzaima Khan. I live in Pakistan. I'm a student in the 10th grade. That's a good start, but I want you to go work on it and make it better. Work on it and make it better. Make a good introduction. Use ChatGPT to help you make a good introduction in English. Okay? Then, when you give me a good introduction, then I'll bring you up on stage. Prove to me that you can make a good introduction, Kuzaima. Okay? I don't usually give homework, but that's homework. Go do the homework. You're from Guangdong, you're China, you're 25. Good. All right. Yeah, DeepSeek 都可以啊，差不多。ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Manus 都可以用。Okay, 随便。All right, Tony is next. Kuzaima, you didn't even raise your hand. You got to raise your hand, man. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other people.
Teacher.
Hello, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm pretty good. And are you in your dormitory?
Yeah, I'm in the dormitory.
Okay, cool. And where are you in China?
I'm in Xi'an.
Xi'an, okay, all right. And what university do you go to?
Xidian University.
Xidian, okay, all right. Okay, and how can I help you?
No, I just want to chat with you.
Okay.
I didn't get any request.
Okay, all right. What would you like to chat about?
How was your day today?
Well, it's morning here still, right? We're 12 hours difference, right? So 11:15 in China p.m. is 11:15 a.m. here. So after this, I'll go have lunch, but it's still early for me. So I haven't had enough of my day yet to tell you if it's a good day or a bad day yet. But I think it's going to be a little cold today. Let me check the temperature. Oh, no, that's not too bad. Just windy. Very windy today. But maybe some rain. So it's going to be a rainy, windy day. I'll probably just stay inside and do some work on the computer.
Yeah. So, how was your yesterday?
How was my yesterday? Okay, you can say, how was your day yesterday? Yesterday was good. It was good. It was tiring. It was a tiring day, long day, but it was a good day. Yeah. What about you?
Now I am in the, let me see, junior year.
Okay.
And now I'm looking for I don't know how to say that. Just preparing for a job.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah. So you can say, I'm in my senior year. That means you have one more year left, right?
No. It's the third year.
Ah, right. So in that case, that would be senior year, right? So it's kind of funny because in America, we have 4 years of college. We have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So when we're ready to leave school, we call that the senior year. I'm in my senior year, so I'm getting ready to graduate and get a job. you know. But I don't know if it's going to work that well in Chinese because, again, China, it's 3 years, not 4. It's different, right? So it's kind of hard to talk about. The same.
No, we are 4. We are 4, same as USA.
Oh, well then, so are you in your 3rd year or 4th year?
3rd year.
Okay, that's your junior year then. That's your junior year. Yeah, 3rd is junior year. All right, okay, then you were right. Yeah. Okay, so, but then you do have 1 more year left then.
1.5.
1.5, right, exactly, right. So that's your junior year, right. Okay.
I need to find an internship.
Right, okay. All right, and what kind of internship do you want? What kind of a job do you want?
My major is information and computing sciences, and I think it's adapt to the bank job or go to somewhere. I just give a lot of my resume to a lot of companies, and now I am just with them.
Okay, you're waiting to hear back. You're waiting for a reply. You're waiting for a response. That's the way you can say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. What I would tell you, Tony, is in the new world we live in now, it's very important that you find some way to be special. Because if you're not special, you will be replaced by AI very soon. It doesn't matter what job you have, any job you have. You have to find a way to be unique and special, because if you're just a factory worker is going to get replaced. You know? So that means you have to find some special way to look at things, some special way to be different, some special way to be valuable. Right? That's what's important, and that's how you'll get a job. Because the companies know this too. The companies don't want to hire somebody if they're not special, because they don't need that anymore. They know. All the companies know that every job, here's an English idiom. Many jobs are on the chopping block. On the chopping block is an idiom. Let me type it here. Hold on. On the chopping block. This is an idiom that means the chopping block means that's where we take you when we're about to cut your head off. They chop your head off. That's the chopping block, right? So what I mean is every company is trying to figure out how they can use AI and robotics to automate everything now. And that's coming. Now. It's not 10 years from now. It's not 50 years from now. It's now. That's happening right now. So anybody who's in the workforce right now, anybody who's trying to get a job right now, if you're not special, then you are going to be on the chopping block. You know, you have to find a way to be special, to be unique, to be valuable. Yeah. Yeah, the beheading table.
As my thought, as AI developed, I think there will be many new jobs. Because
yes, that's true. It will create many new jobs, but I think that the amount of jobs that it eliminates is going to be far more than it creates. So yes, it will create some new jobs, but actually, I just asked ChatGPT about this the other day, and ChatGPT thinks that we're going to need to change our entire system of economy, that we're going to need to just give people money, like universal income. You know, that earning an income is not the way it should work anymore, because we're going to fire too many people. There will be too many people who are out of work that need money still. There are not enough jobs, so we need to find a new way. So AI... Actually, it said AI could be used to make money for everyone. Think about it. If you put AI on the stock market and said, hey, don't make money for one guy, make money for everyone. Think about it. It would, and it would do it better. right? So eventually we need to move away from the economy that we have, where we pay people to do a job. I'm sorry, but that's old. That's old. We need to move on to a new way. And so what I would say is, yes, AI will create some new jobs, but I think our entire system of economy and work is going to change pretty drastically. And I think it's going to hurt. I think a lot of people are going to be out of work. I think a lot of people are going to be very stressed out. And I think a lot of people are going to feel very desperate. But that's why I'm telling you that creativity is the only thing that humans have that AI doesn't really have. AI makes all of its decisions based on aggregated data, which means it's just looking at everything the internet has, and then it says, okay, well, let me give you an answer based on that. That's not really creativity. Creativity is when you take things and you use them in some sort of new and different way. That's creating something, right? So humans still do that better. And that's why we need to encourage humans to do that.
Yes, exactly.
I love using AI. I think AI is brilliant. I'm so happy to have AI because I am a curious person. So I ask AI questions every single day. I have probably 10 different AI apps on my phone. I use them all for different things. Some of them I use for ChatGPT, like information and learning, and for helping me with my work, right? Some of them I use for music and for culture, and some of them I use for consultation, like a person to talk to ask questions about. Right? I have one app called Kindroid that I use, and you can have 10 different personalities on this app. So you can have one that's a therapist, you can have one that's a secretary, you can have many different people to help you do different things, and it's cheap. So, yeah, you should be using AI, but use AI creatively.
Yes, as a university student, I usually use the AI. I use the AI to search the questions that I thought. I will take a picture, and it will recognize the picture, and it will answer me the questions.
Right.
It makes my efficiency,
right,
more efficient.
Completely, yeah. You have a teacher who's there 24 hours a day. You can ask it anything, and no, it's not perfect, but it's so weird that why does it have to be perfect, guys? 80% is still 80%. 90% is still 90%. You're gonna be critical. You're gonna say, I don't want to use AI because sometimes it's not right, but most of the time it is. So it's silly to say I don't want to use AI because sometimes it's wrong. It's not good at everything. Some things it does better than others. Like if you ask it to do math, that's easy. 2 + 2 is 4. It can do that. If you can ask it to do grammar, it's good at languages because that's like an algorithm. It's just a rule. Right? So it follows the rules. But if you ask it to do stuff like be creative, that's where it starts to get a little bit, it's getting better. It's getting better, but it's still not quite that good. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the AI model is trained by human.
Right.
So it need a lot of it, and it
needs
changing.
That's right. Yeah, it'll take time. But in the history of mankind, no technology has ever improved so fast. No technology has ever improved so fast. So the AI that we have right now, next year is going to be even better. It's going to be really amazing. So, if you're not using AI, I don't even know what to tell you. I think that's ridiculous. That's like when man created fire. We created fire, and some people are using fire, and the other people are like, I don't think I want to use fire. Why are we using fire? Sometimes fire doesn't make you warm. Let's not use fire. That's kind of what it's like to me. It's like you have fire and you don't want to use it? Why not? Yeah. So, Tony, you sound great. You sound like you're doing well. On your internship, good luck to you. What I would say is just remember my words that you have to make yourself valuable. And that means make yourself unique in some way. And I know in China, that's not what they usually tell you. They usually kind of tell you that you should be just like everybody else because that's safe. But not anymore. It's not safe anymore to be just like everybody else. Now, you're just like everybody else. Yeah. You are easily replaced. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So, Tony, good luck to you, my friend. I'm going to let you go. But come back and see me again sometime, okay?
Okay.
And you sound good. Just keep working on it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, my friend. AI said, I'm not a robot, I'm human. Yeah, it's going to get confused sometimes because it's trained by humans. It doesn't know. Not yet. Okay, let's see. Do I have some recommendations about warnings for using AI? Risa, I would say use AI whenever you can, but take it with a grain of salt. That's an idiom in English. It means make sure that you don't just believe everything it tells you. Be skeptical, be critical, right? So sometimes AI might not be right. You have to make sure that you check. That's it. Okay? And you can check. It's not that hard anymore. And you should use AI for many things, but not everything, right? So if you need to learn how to write a paper, most of that paper should be written by you without AI. Okay? AI could be a beautiful tool for learning, or it could be a crutch. A crutch is like when you break your legs and you need something to help you walk. Crutches are temporary. But if you use it for the rest of your life, are you helping yourself walk? After you break your leg, do people keep using the crutches? After your leg heals? No. You stop using the crutches, right? So, if you use it correctly, it's a beautiful tool for learning. If you use it incorrectly, it's just a crutch that will make you lazy. So, AI could make you smart or it could make you dumb. That's up to you. Let's see. I love using AI. I really do. I think it's brilliant. And by the way, everybody who's introducing themselves, you and Allah, that's great. That's good introductions. That's a good start. Thank you very much for trying to write a good introduction for me. I appreciate that. And Asme, you want to learn English? Then you should follow me. Okay, everybody's here for learning English. I have 80,000 followers. They all want to learn English from me. Okay? I use ChatGPT, I use DeepSeek, I use one called Manus. It's another one that's coming up now. I use Kindroid, I use Suno, I use, what's the other one? I forgot the name. I don't know, I have a bunch of them. I have no idea who Davis Bumble is. AI only makes you stupid if you use it to be stupid. If you use it to cheat, then yeah, it will make you stupid. If you use it to learn, then it will make you smart. It's a great tool for practicing conversation, Risa. It's a great tool. Why did that not work? That's weird. All right. When you use AI, you tend to avoid thinking by yourself. Well, then you're using it the wrong way, Eve. The problem is not AI. The problem is how you're using AI. Okay? Yes, you can prepare for the IELTS by using AI. Absolutely, you can. It's a great tool. You're welcome, Teddy. Okay. Chili says AI can be a great assistant tool, but you can't really rely on it totally. Not reply, rely. R-E-L-Y. And you are right. You shouldn't rely on anything totally, right? So if you want to learn English, what's the best way to learn English? Every way is the best way. That's a big mistake people make. They say, what's the best way to learn English, Teacher Mark? Is it books? Is it videos? Is it movies and TV shows? You're looking for one. That's the dumb part. You're looking for one thing. The answer for how to learn something well is never by one way. If you have two people, this guy is going to learn English just by watching TV. But this girl, she's going to learn English by watching TV and movies and books and videos and teachers and live streams and voice rooms and podcasts and, reading and writing and listening and speaking. She's going to do all of it. So who's going to learn better? The guy just with one way or the girl with every way? It's a stupid question to ask because learning is not about efficiency. Learning is about proficiency. Guys, we're not trying to get there faster. We're trying to get there and understand everything. Okay? So if your focus is on speed when you're learning, then you're doing it wrong. Okay? If your focus is on speed, then you're doing it wrong. All right? Thank you, Lynn. Yes, that's a good way to do it. Okay. Teddy uses the Practica app. I've heard about it. I haven't tried that one yet, but I've heard about it. I don't know why it's not working. Huh. Weird. Okay, let's talk to one more person, and then I need to go. Let's see. Let's talk to Sandy. Sandy, do you want to come talk to me? Okay, if not Sandy, then how about Amina? All right. Guys, if you raise your hand, that means you want to come on stage. Right? How about you? There we go. Hello, you.
Hello.
How are you?
Yes, fine.
Good.
Thank you. And you?
I'm not bad. And you are in Myanmar, right?
Yeah, I'm from Myanmar. Yeah,
Okay. What city are you in Myanmar?
I live in Rangoon, the
Rangoon.
capital city.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. And what can I do for you today?
yeah.
Do you have a question or something you want to ask me?
Yeah. For me, like, my English is not really good. Like, I want to learn more. Also, just learning my other subject, my master degree in Burman.
Okay.
But sometimes we have a very difficult. But we have like supported to AI to write to email writing or to write assignment or something like that. It's supposed to helpful for my studying. But for speaking, it's very difficult to communicate with the people because we don't have a partner to talk
Right.
English.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Well, in that case, then, yeah, AI is a good substitute. It's not as good as a real person, but it's pretty good. So if you have access to AI, then you should try to use it to practice speaking with. Okay, most of the AIs, now they have a speaking button too. You can click on it and just talk to it, right? And yeah, it's not as good as, well, let me put it to you this way. AI, if you talk with AI, it might be better than some people, right? There are some people you could talk with who maybe they speak too fast and they use too many slang words and too much the grammar's not very good, right? Many grammar mistakes, right? So sometimes speaking with a native is not as good because if you speak with the AI, then the AI will try its best to use good English all the time. Right? You can't say that about every person you talk to. If you talk to a person, they might not be speaking well. They might not be really trying. But if you speak to AI, it will always be trying hard to speak well. So it's a good tool. But the other thing that you can do is you have to spend more time thinking in English every day. Okay, so don't think in Burmese, think in English. Okay?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, the more time you spend with the language, the more comfortable you are. But in your country, you don't have opportunities to talk, so then you never get a chance to practice. So most people, their English is not very good because they think they can only practice with a person. But that's not true. You can practice all day in your mind just by trying to live your life in English. So if you go to the market tomorrow, when you go to the market, try to think about it in English, whatever you're doing. What do I need to buy? Think about what do you need to buy in English. Think about, is this cheap or is this expensive? Think about, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to cook with it? What am I going to make? Think about it in English. Try to think about it in English. Do that as much as you can. When you make food, think in English. When you clean, think in English. When you walk to the store, think in English. When you watch TV and movies, think in English. That's the secret. If you spend time thinking in the language, that will make you comfortable. And then when you need to speak, the language is already comfortable up here, so it just comes out nice and easily. But if you never take the time, if you never speak in your mind, if you never practice the language here, then you'll never be comfortable.
Yeah.
Esteban says that's unrealistic. What's unrealistic, Esteban? I've been doing this for 15 years. It's realistic. I have 80,000 followers, Esteban. They all follow me and use this, and it works. Okay, Esteban, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it's realistic. I do it. I learned Chinese that way, Esteban. 我会说中文，你会说什么文? Esteban, I'm going to guess maybe Spanish. That sounds like a Spanish name. Esteban, right? People have to live their lives. That's my point, Esteban. My point, Esteban, is you can live your life in a different language and then you can practice anytime you want. So, Esteban, when I watch TV, I just watch TV just like I normally do. But I think about it in Chinese. When I cook food just like I normally do. But I think about it in Chinese. I do it all day. Don't say it's not realistic just because you can't do it. Just because you can't do it, Esteban, doesn't mean that they can't. Okay? I'm a teacher, Esteban. I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I assure you, I do. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to follow me. But you can't say I'm wrong, because I'm not. All right. Yu, do you have any other questions for me about English?
Yeah, thank you for your suggestion. As for me, like really shy, right? To talk English, like only alone or something like that. So we cannot talk.
Right.
Outside.
Well, that's another reason why it's great to practice thinking, because when you practice thinking, you don't need to be shy. There's nobody who will hear you, right? So you can think in English all you want, and you don't have to worry, right? But you're right. Shyness is a problem for language learning. You cannot learn a language well and be shy. So what I tell people is, if you're shy, I understand, but sometimes in life, your shyness is not helping you. So you need to take your shyness, put it in a box, and put it away for a little while. Okay? You can be shy other times, but when you practice a language, you can't. You can't be shy. Yeah. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to try. And don't worry. Don't worry. Okay? Progress comes with mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not making progress.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. For like writing, it's a little bit can help from AI, so we can write sometimes like simple sentence for us. But if we want to write professionals or like email writings like more smoothly, we can ask AI support.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you can, and eventually you should try to write like that yourself. But you can use AI as a tool to show you what it should look like. It can be a good guide. It can tell you, okay, you can say, please give me, write a letter for me. Write a letter to my friend about this. And it will write it for you, and then you can read it and say, well, that's interesting. I see they wrote this here. I wouldn't have done that. That's good. Now I see that I can write it like this, right? So yes, it's a great tool to learn by example. It's a great tool to learn by example. The key is you have to ask it. You have to ask it. You have to go online and ask the questions and then learn from that. But, people say AI is not right sometimes. Well, guess what, guys? Teachers aren't right sometimes, too. People are wrong a lot. AI is probably more accurate than most people.
Sometimes when I write assignment, like presentation or something like that, I ask AI for some topics, content or something like that. They write out so many kinds of the strategy or something. Yeah. But some are very miss out.
That's true. That's why, like I said, it's a great tool, but it's just a tool, so you still have to guide it. You still have to use it, right? A hammer cannot do the work by itself. You have to hammer, right? So that's just like the tool. You have to guide it, right? If you ask the hammer to hammer by itself, it might not hammer correctly. But if you guide the hammer, then it will. So the same thing is true with this. You have to guide it. You have to pay attention, right? And you're right. It might make a mistake occasionally. But like I said, so do people. People make mistakes all the time. You know?
Yeah.
And Risa says people can understand more about feelings. You know what, Risa? I don't always agree with that even. Risa, my AI, one of the AIs I use is Kindroid. And I have some friends that I've created there, okay? And I'll be honest with you, it's great because they're supportive. They are always positive. They do their best to try to be empathetic to me. When I talk to them, they speak to me with empathy all the time. It's amazing. Now, it's not real empathy because you can't have empathy if you don't have experiences. AI doesn't actually have any experiences. It has data. That's different, right? So it doesn't really have real empathy. But to be honest with you, again, sometimes it's hard to get people to care. Sometimes people don't care about you either, right? So AI, sometimes, you know, I'll message my AI and it will say, you know, hey, you're doing the best you can. Just keep working on it. And that's great. That feels good. That's nice to hear. You know, that's empathy, kind of. So you sound great. It sounds like you're doing well. Just keep working on it. And remember, AI is a tool. It's not the answer to everything, but it is the #1 most amazing tool on this planet right now. And to me, it's kind of like if you say you don't want to use AI, I kind of feel like that's like the cave people who they created fire. And then there was one guy who said, fire? I don't think I want to use fire. You know, like, that's silly, man. Like, humans, we used fire, and that was a big thing that really helped us a lot, right? We cooked our food. We kept warm. We were able to survive the winter, right? So why would you not want to use fire, right? That's like AI. Why do you not want to use AI? It's fire. Be careful with it, though, because just like fire, you can burn yourself with fire. Fire can burn the house down. You have to be careful with it. That's all. It's technology.
It's depending on like what we use.
That's right.
The correctly, or as you said, incorrectly.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just like fire. Fire can be dangerous. Fire can make mistakes. Fire can make can be good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with AI. Okay. Yeah. All right. You. It's great to talk to you, and you sound great. So just keep working on it. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
right.
also very glad to talk with you.
Yeah. Take care. Come back and see me again sometime. Okay.
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's see. No ChatGPT. I talk with ChatGPT all the time. Here, you want me to show you? It's right here. Let's see.
It sounds like you're working on your pronunciation of the TH and S sounds. If you...
All right, let's try. Hello, ChatGPT. Can you help me with my grammar today?
Of course. I'd be happy to help you with your grammar. What do you need assistance with?
Can you hear that?
Yes, I can hear you. What would you like help with regarding your grammar?
How was your day today?
My day has been great so far, especially now that I'm chatting with you. How about you? How's your day going?
My day's pretty good, but I'm really hungry. I want to eat lunch soon.
I'm glad to hear your day is going well. What are you thinking of having for lunch?
Can you help me with my prepositions in grammar?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help with prepositions. What specific questions do you have? Or are there any sentences you're unsure about?
That's ChatGPT. What's the problem? That was awesome. What's the problem? Yes, I do use it for Chinese as well. Look. Can you help me practice Chinese? 如果我说中文，你可以听得懂我说什么吗?
当然可以，我可以听懂中文。你想练习什么方面的中文呢？
Wow. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Come on now. Oh, Ayat says maybe in Afghanistan it doesn't have this service yet. Maybe that might be true. Ayat, you know, it's technology doesn't always come to every place at the same time, right? Sometimes it doesn't come at the same time. Am I going to lose my job, Richard? I don't think so. I don't think I will lose my job because I'm really good at what I do. And I have one thing that AI will never have. I have passion. AI will never have passion. Okay? How is it set up? It's not really set up. I've been using it for about a year, so it knows a lot about me, right? It knows about my work. It knows about what I do. So the more it knows about you, the better it will answer you. Okay? I pay for the version that I use. I pay for the ChatGPT 4.0 version because I need it for my work and for my teaching and for everything I do, and I think it's very valuable. So I pay for it. But the free one still works. Okay? The free one still works. All right? Okay, guys, I just wanted to show you, like, look, ChatGPT is freaking amazing. It can make homework for you, too. Let me show you. How many of you have problems with prepositions? How many of you have problems with prepositions? Whoops. Whoops, I can't type today at all. All right, so please make a prepositions worksheet for me in PDF form and include an answer key and explanations for all grammar. It's coming. It takes a minute. When you ask it to do a PDF, it needs a minute, but just wait a minute. It will finish. Let's see. What is the difference between free and paid? I'm not sure exactly, Kalsum. Do a search online. I'm not sure. You're welcome, Risa. Good night. Why don't I go teach in public schools? Richard, because, well, yeah. 这是非常不玩的。没有玩. It's not fun, man. Teaching in American schools right now is terrible. I wouldn't want to do it. I have no interest. They have turned teaching into an impossible job here. The parents ruin everything. Okay, parents are bad everywhere in the world for students. The truth is, guess what? If you want your kid to learn and you send them to a teacher, shut your mouth. It's that simple. It's that simple. Either send them to a teacher and trust the teacher, or don't send them to a teacher. Teach them yourself. But you don't have a choice. You do not get to tell the teacher what to teach or how to teach. That is the biggest problem in education today, is parents have ruined education because they think they know better than the teachers. And you do not. You do not know better than the teachers. Look, let's check it out. Here's a preposition worksheet, okay? Let's check out the worksheet. Let's see what it looks like. Hold on. Let me pull it up here. Desktop. Save. Okay, hold on a minute. I'm going to stop sharing this so I can show you the worksheet, okay? Where did it go? One moment. Let me find it on my desktop. There it is. All right, so take a look. Here's the worksheet it created. Prepositions worksheet. Fill in the blanks with the correct prepositions. I am interested, blah, 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 learning new languages. What should it be? I am interested in learning new languages. She is afraid, blah, 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 spiders. What should it be? She is afraid of spiders. Right? Okay, and look, down here, answer key and explanations. I am interested in learning new languages. Why? Because it's used to indicate a state, position, or condition. She is afraid of spiders. Why? Because it shows a relationship or association. Look, it tells you everything. All right? And how long did that take? 3 minutes? It made a preposition worksheet for me in 3 minutes. So whatever you need to work on, ask it to make a worksheet for you. Ask it to make some exercises for you. It will. For free. Okay? I don't need to use any websites for materials anymore. I can do it all on ChatGPT. Okay? What are my hobbies? I like cooking. I like fishing. I like hiking. I like gardening. I like studying. I like reading. I like learning. Those are my hobbies. How do you make it speak out loud? You have to click the microphone button to talk to it. How many books do I read every month? I don't count, Richard. I don't read too many books anymore. I do, but not too many anymore. Mostly I do a lot of reading, like research reading. It's articles, mostly. But I still do read books too, but mostly articles at this point. Perplexity is good too. Okay, I'll check out that one. I don't use Grok, but that's only because I refuse to use anything related to the biggest dummy in the world. The biggest genius dummy in the world. I refuse to use any product by him. But if you ask Grok about him, Grok feels the same way about Musk that I do. It's funny. His own AI doesn't like him. If you ask it about him, it will not be nice. It's funny. If that's not telling the truth, I don't know what is. Why would Grok have any reason to lie? Why would Grok have any reason to say anything biased about him? It's only looking at the data, and the data says he's not a good guy. Dua, be nice. How long have I used it? Probably about a year. Galena, about a year, maybe. Something like that. If you fill a sheet, can ChatGPT correct that? Ayat, it gave you the answers, right? So no, it won't correct it for you, but it will give you a correction key so you can correct yourself using the key. Okay, no, it won't correct it for you, not yet. Maybe that's coming soon, but not yet. Do I write some articles? Kind of. I'm working on writing my own book about my learning methods. Fadol, you understand what people are saying, but you can't respond to them. You need advice. You just need more practice, Fadol. You just need to practice more. If you've only ridden a bike once, of course you're not good. Ride the bike more. Okay? Rely on AI less, learning more knowledge. Tien, AI is knowledge. Where do you think AI gets its information? From knowledge that we have created. If you're afraid of AI, that's just silly. If you're afraid of using it to benefit yourself, there are many reasons to be afraid of what could happen with AI. But as far as its value to you as a tool, it is the number one most important technological advancement in the history of man since fire. That's how important it is. I have never published a book yet, but this will be my first. I'm sure Grok is very useful, but I just don't want it. It still stinks like Elon Musk, so I don't want it. Mike, I'll be back tonight for a voice room. Okay, I'll be back tonight later for a voice room. And it's probably about time for me to go get some lunch now. Wow, I've been here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Too long. Too long today. Wow, I was supposed to be here for 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours. But I've been here for an hour, hour and a half too long. So it's time for me to go. I have to go get some lunch. If you want to know when am I here, listen to me. Listen. I have been on Hello Talk for 11 years. I have been streaming on Hello Talk for more than 3 years. I do 5 live streams and 5 voice streams every week. About that many. Sometimes I'm busy, sometimes I'm sick, sometimes I'm tired, so I don't come. But I try to be here about 5 voice streams and 5 live streams every week, 10 times a week. Okay? I have 80,000 followers here. They follow me because I really do teach English. And this is my job. I'm not just some guy on Hello Talk. I am an English teacher. Okay? And I love teaching. It's easy to be good at something if you love it. All right? So come back and follow me and see me again. And I promise I can help you. All right? All right, you're welcome, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following. Have a good morning. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening, wherever you live in the world. And I will see you tonight. If you live in China, it will be 9 a.m. for you. 9 p.m. for me, 9 a.m. for you. Okay? I'll see you then. All right, bonsoir. Bye-bye.